7 things you need to know about the Apple Beats deal. My question is, can we expect to see them having more stat cards or the technology you have with your software?
Yes. Nilay Patel, the editor-in-chief of The Verge, he is practically on the verge of cracking open our computers to try to pull out the code for CardStack. He's very eager to get them on his site. And I think it's actually something that is in the works now. It's a lot of work, I am told, to port them over to other verticals. I don't understand this stuff at all, so I take their word for it. But I think that you are seeing industry-wide more of a move towards explainers. And this is one reason why everybody on the site is writing and why we want to be really nimble and continue to innovate, because people saw that it worked. And now they're doing the same thing. And that's great. I think it's great that they're borrowing our ideas, but if we just keep doing the same thing, even if we do it the best, and I flatter myself and say, oh, we're the best at it, even if that's the case, then more and more people are going to do it, and more people are going to start eating up that share of the market, and we have to continue to not just try to be the best at it, but to try to find and develop new things that we can do before other people come up with those ideas first. Sure.
Is there a special reason why you don't have a mobile special application?
Yeah, the idea...
You're using a mobile site only, so
right.
Is there any reason for that?
Yeah, the idea is that the kind of philosophy behind that is that the mobile site should be good enough that you don't need an app. And that I was not involved in this decision. The rationale makes perfect sense to me, but I am told by people at the site who looked into this very deeply, is they came away from it and they said, look, if you have a mobile app, then that means that your mobile site isn't good enough and you're trying to get around that, and it means that your mobile advertising isn't good enough and you're trying to pull in advertisers a different way. And that rather than having 2 different mobile experiences and splitting your resources, you should just have one and have it be really good. Now, I say that. It's entirely possible that I'll get back to Washington and they'll tell me, guess what, we're making a mobile app. So, you know, the thinking on this stuff changes all the time.
Because, for instance, you can send push notifications if there's an update to your card stakes or something. So
right.
I was wondering why you don't use this.
Well, you should just refresh our site more. But I mean, actually, that's a really good point. And we are not a breaking news site. You know, we learn about breaking news the same time everybody else does. You know, we don't have 30 different bureaus in every foreign ministry around the world. So we travel on social media, right? So we expect the content to be good enough that people will discover it and share it slowly, rather than we're going to take this 1 or 2 sentence update and then we're going to like punch it into your phone because we think you need to read it absolutely this second. Yes.
What's your view on competitors like Circo?
I think Circo, unfortunately, is going under. Yes, that is. Yeah. Circo unfortunately did not work out, but they had a good idea that was worth trying. Seriously, I'm serious, and I think that it's good that you were going to see over the next few years and probably for a long time. Are you literally pulling up Circo right now to see if it's still there? Okay, I'm telling you, I am not breaking this news. This is a thing that is happening. I don't want to be mean about it. It's too bad. But I think it's great that people are trying lots of different ideas for sites, and they're testing out lots of different premises. And some of them are going to fail. You know, I thought there was a pretty good chance that Vox was going to fail. I mean, it still could fail. But that's okay, because ultimately it's good for readers and it's good for journalists if there's lots of different people trying out lots of different ideas and then testing them in the market and testing them with readers to see if they work. And also, you know, there's some people in the new media who can get a little bit catty and competitive with other sites, but I actually think that all of the successful sites are fairly differentiated, right? You get a different thing from Vice and BuzzFeed and Vox and, you know, you name where else, and you can read all of them, and you'll get something, a little bit of a different value from each of them. And I think there's just going to be more of that, and it's going to be better and better for readers. Yes.
So I read your card stacks are embeddable to third-party sites as
Yes.
well now.
Yes.
Have you any experience in embedding those card stacks within an article, in between paragraphs, or below it, or do you only do it below articles, and what's the difference in reader behavior?
Right. So we only just like maybe a month ago. It used to be it could only embed at the bottom of articles, and now we can embed them higher up. And sure enough, if they're higher up, people will read them more because people only scroll down so far. But we also found that it's a really nice way to have a segue, right? Just in the way that if you're in the course of an article, you reference a chart, here's the chart. You're in the course of an article, you know, the example I use is Israel-Palestine. You mentioned the division of Jerusalem. Oh, here's the card on Jerusalem. That we have very high engagement with that, where you just tell people, here's what the thing is, the service that we're offering you, and now click on it to get the service.
Sure.
Oh, please.
And would you just start then with the 9th card out of 23 cards, which explains exactly that kind of context you need in that article, or would you always start? Maybe I wasn't watching your side enough.
It varies. Generally, we're more successful if we embed the table of contents, because then people can see, they can scan that list of headlines first, and they can kind of see, oh, I understand what this thing is, and then make the affirmative decision to dive into it and jump to whatever card they want to read to. Yes.
Publishing houses are discussing paid content, especially when it comes to in-depth reporting. Do you see any space for that?
On our site?
Well, generally when it comes to in-depth background stories.
Yeah, I think a paywall does not make sense for us because of our editorial model and what we do. If we put up a paywall, someone will just do a cheaper, less good version and bite off a bunch of our readers. And in any case, our business model actually works fine, works very well for not having a paywall. We don't need that. But I think a paywall makes a ton of sense for the New York Times. I think a paywall could make sense for Der Spiegel. When you're investing weeks or months in a story, maybe you want to charge readers for that. And often, I think that people have been surprised by how much that is actually worth something to readers. When the Times put up their paywall, the thing that all of my friends there were pulling their hair out about was they said, we're going to do all of this work on this big, Chris Chivers investigative piece that we'll spend months on and many thousands of dollars, and we'll put it up on the site, and the Huffington Post will copy the 3rd paragraph and put it on their site and steal all of our page views. And it turns out that that's actually not true. I mean, they will copy and paste the 3rd paragraph and put it up on their site, but people still really, really want to read the original thing. People still like good writing. People still like good production values. People pay for HBO, right? They don't just watch the free channels. And people like to read the original thing, right? It's not as rewarding to read the aggregation of someone else's story if you can go read the actual thing. So I think paywalls for organizations that have very expensive, valuable journalism, I think it's a great idea.
I think now we have to stop. Die Mittagspause ist schon läuft schon seit 1:45.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Aber wird hier wahrscheinlich kein Essen bereitgestellt.
Now everybody's going to the canteen.